Okay, so I was just thinking about this, and maybe I should put trigger warning, but I feel like if anything, I should put trigger warning in the account name. But anywho, I've mentioned this before since the evidence channels. I know I even used to tell my siblings this, but this obviously isn't for everybody, so keep that in mind. Cause well, no, let me not go into something else and go on a 39-minute rant and forget what I'm supposed to be talking about. So, one of the reasons why your dad may have left is because he's a CHOMO. He doesn't want to essay his own kids, so he'll leave and he'll go essay somebody else's kids. Or he'll leave and get with somebody who doesn't have kids. This is why if it's like a serious baby mama, baby daddy situation where like the girlfriend he gets with already has a whole bunch of kids and they don't have kids together till after the fact, he'll essay the older kids who are already there. And then once him and the girlfriend have kids, then he'll leave after that. And you may be conditioned in thinking that he doesn't like you or that he doesn't love you. And to be truthfully honest, people like this that are always sleeping around and stuff don't love themselves or you or anybody. But that's a whole nother video. But the bigger thing is that he's probably really trying to not essay you. And this is really common, but a lot of people don't know it. Especially due to the fact that the moms and enabler siblings try to keep the essay a secret. And there's something else I was supposed to say, but I don't remember what it was. But of course, other reasons why the dad may not be around is parental alienation. And typically both the parents are just as toxic and messed up. I'm not even gonna lie about that. This can even go hand in hand with the alienation. Like, really what I would say is that if you've never met the person, don't believe that the toxic parent who did stay around tells you. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, but like, I know how parental alienation can be, and I personally wouldn't advise anybody to believe stuff about somebody that you don't know personally and that you never met. In fact, the little bit of time I stayed in GA near ATL, or supposedly Clayco is not Atlanta, but I mean, people in Clayco claim it's Atlanta, but anywho, this boy was always running around talking about how he didn't even know his dad's last name or first name, and of course he was always wearing a crop top and stuff, and it's like, the thing is, if you don't even know your dad's name, that's your mom's fault. She's keeping something a secret. Like, unless she got essay walking down the street, she should be able to tell you your dad's name. Or she's trifling, which 9 out of 10, she's trifling. I've heard some people say that if your dad wasn't in your life, it's because God didn't trust him to be in your life and to be an influence on you, but I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, maybe, but that's kind of whatever too. And then another thing that I mention all the time throughout the years. CHOMO, Freemason, Triple K, the Lemite, anti-youth, real men hating lawyers and judges, hate men. They only ever give dads custody when they know that the dad is essaying the kids. Other than that, they screw the dad. They only want the dad around when he's abusing the kids sexually. Then, of course, there's the dads that you do see trying to come around, but they're not allowed around, and it's because the mom is bitter, or because she has some dudes around who are doing stuff to the kids, and she's doing stuff to the kids too, and she doesn't want the actual dad to know. And what else is it? I don't know if I have anything else to say about that. But one thing I can throw in though is that not to be a quote-unquote Debbie Downer, as people like to say, but for those of us who had or have or quote-unquote have both parents, it's like the reality is it's two messed up people typically. The grass isn't greener when the yard comes together. In fact, I can tell a couple different stories that kind of go along with why parental alienation lies or smear campaigns shouldn't be taken to heart. Because typically it's like things that you're told to make you feel like the other parent doesn't love you, to trap you with the abusive parent who's probably going to be the mom. and to make you feel like she's all you'll ever have, and that's why you should take care of her and endure her abuse because the other parent doesn't love you, but they do. And in reality, probably neither do, but anywho, so this doesn't really completely fit the topic, but I knew one person who had an abusive, well, they had abusive parents in general, but they had an abusive mom, and then the mom was always telling them that their dad was schizophrenic and somewhere out there in the world, and he was quote unquote insane and nobody knew where he was. Then when the mom died and court cases came up and the mom's ex had came back to give the kid a place to stay, that's when they found out their actual dad's name and ended up finding the actual dad's Facebook, and he was on there with a whole new wife and 2 kids. So maybe he was never even actually quote unquote schizophrenic, which I'm not really into that label that much anyways. In fact, and due to the fact that I met this person in the Cash for Kids system, I feel like a lot of the whole your dad's schizophrenic stuff was just used to fearmonger them into believing that they were schizophrenic themselves or were going to become schizophrenic. And to be truthfully honest, with the ongoing abuse situations and the psychotropic drugging and stuff, I mean, that can make somebody become that regardless of what. But it all goes into their word curses and creating the issue that isn't there. And then number 2, or maybe 5 or 6, I don't know, but this is really, really common. Somebody being told that their dad doesn't like them and their dad doesn't even know that they exist. And this is one of the unfortunate things about sleep around hookup culture. And I guess lack of sex ed. But I guess a lot of us have never been, but it's I think if you at least know the foundations. But some people even run around getting pregnant and even keep the pregnancy a secret when they're planning to take the baby out, or even when they're planning to use the baby for government assistance. But they don't really want to be with the dude. Then of course the dude can leave. Sometimes the dudes are trying to escape the mom. Then also, moms lying and telling their sons that the dad doesn't love them and that he left, but really the dad's in prison or he isn't alive anymore. But the mom doesn't want to tell the kids that, so she tells them some crazy stuff. There's literally situations where a dad has died from kidney failure, but the mom doesn't want to tell the kids that, so she just tells them, oh, he left. And it's why? People are just so, And people say that it's more traumatizing to tell them the truth. Somebody rather hear that than hear he left because he doesn't like you. And, I mean, maybe due to, life experiences or, emotions on a certain level, like I do, and it'll just be well, unfortunately it happened. Especially in dysfunctional families where there is, no affection and no love and emotion, so nobody loves each other. So, when something does happen, it's just, another day, pretty much. Going back to the dad trying to come over to check on the kids when the mom and the boyfriend is doing whatever to the kid or the kids. And this can also tie into the dad just trying to come around in general. It's also really common for the dad to pick up a lot of false stalking and domestic violence charges and constantly get the police called on him every time he tries to see his kids. Because the mom is bitter, she's hiding something, or the kids are in there, I don't know, dead or something. And so, yeah, that'll happen pretty often. And, I've even seen guys just go numb due to this and, just eventually have to go screw it and even be told to just forget about it. So they don't end up going to jail for some bullcrap that didn't happen. Or losing their life. And, of course, it's always going to be their fault because, they're the dude, well, they're the male. Or even if they're quote unquote black, then that's going to make it even worse. But it's going to be bad either way because they're a dude. And so That's also really, really common. Dudes picking up charges because they're trying to take care of their kid. And the funny thing is, the moms who are like this typically aren't even really taking care of the kids. They have the kids in the house starving and stuff. And then he's trying to feed his kids, and then she's like, no, you're not going to feed your kids. Your kids are going to sit up in this house and die. And then, like, but of course, the real abusers are never going to get charged. And then after a while, the son's wearing a crop top. But yeah, a lot of dudes get really depressed and even suicidal over this. And I've seen this a lot in areas where the dad was already in a bad environment and grew up in a bad environment. So when the pressure really hits due to all the bull crap, and knowing that their kids are in a bad predicament, they're not allowed to see them or check on them, they just kind of, I guess people call it crashing out.